Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is brought to you by the Friends in Recovery community, a thriving network of individuals who are fighting back against the stigma of addiction. Join our hosts as they speak up about the real issues of addiction, treatment, and recovery. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Welcome back to the Friends in Recovery Podcast with Jersey Ed. I'm your host, guys, Jersey Ed, along with my co-host, Buckeye Bambi. Hey, Bambi, how's it going?
Hey, it is going wonderful.
It is.
Because you know why? Because
no idea.
You have no idea. I've only talked about it for weeks and weeks and weeks. But football starts back today. So real football.
For college football.
Yes.
The Buckeyes are
Buckeyes
playing, right?
Play Notre Dame, which we're ranked number 2 and they're ranked number 5. So it should be a really good game at 7 tonight. So
7 tonight. Yes. So if you're watching this on Tuesday, it's not 7 tonight.
No. It'll be over with and we will have won.
Yes, exactly.
So.
Exactly. Well, Bambi, you and I were not in the podcast last week. What happened? What was going on?
I can't figure it out. I had this weird trip to make to New Jersey. Listen, we had the Roar. Ed went down the river and we had an after party and it was just the most amazing event.
It was. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I just want to give out some phone numbers here. The podcast hotline, if you're looking for any information or you want to find out more about us or our meetings, you can dial us at 800-989-6504. And that'll be up on the screen here. If you're watching on YouTube, that's 800-989-6504. And you can email us at help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com. That's help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com. If you want to drop us a letter, give us your sobriety date, we'll give you a sober shout out. I don't care if it's in June or wherever, we'll still give you a shout out because sobriety is the most important thing on this show, obviously.
Absolutely.
Also, I'd like to thank all of our donors who made this show possible. To make a donation, you can Venmo us or what's the other one? Cash App us. Cash App. And the Venmo is at Friends in Recovery Enterprises under business. And what's the Cash App at?
Cash App is $ Friends in Recovery.
$ Friends in Recovery to make a donation to keep this podcast going and our meetings and our community going. Or you can send a check to Friends in Recovery Enterprises, P.O. Box 1551, Johns Island, South Carolina, 29457. Also, Bambi, Friends in Recovery Podcast is now part of the F.I.R.E network.
What is the F.I.R.E network, Ed?
Funny you ask. I was just going to explain that to people. Bambi, the F.I.R.E network is a network of podcasters and anybody who might have an app or something on social media that want to advertise for free on our website under the F.I.R.E network. And what that'll do is you'll be able to go to our website. You'll be able to click on our network and see everybody who's participating. So if you want more information on that, email us at help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com. Or you can email Carl over at SoberPod, info@soberpod.com. And speaking of Carl, guys, great show. Make sure you listen to SoberPod. They have Carl and I was going to say Bambi. Carl and Chelsea are. I don't have words today. I'm starving. I just ran. I have to go and do the lawn after I'm done. And then I have friends coming over and I've been up since 4:00. So, but I'm sober, guys. That's the main part of it. I'm sober today, right?
And you already got on a meeting, a great Saturday morning meeting. I was on a
great Saturday morning meeting also. So, but listen to SoberPod. We love everybody over at SoberPod, Chelsea and Carl. They are doing, I think, came to believe Living Sober. They're reading from Living Sober and they're doing a great job over there. It's my go-to on my long runs on Sunday. So if you're going to be out on your long run, you're sober and you want to listen to something good, listen to SoberPod. So Bambi and I were not only in the same state, not only in the same county, not only in the same town, but we were also at the same campsite last Sunday, right? As most of you guys know, and I want to thank each and every one of you guys, everybody on here for donating to the Roar trip. We probably raised probably over $1,500 just specifically just from that trip. So thank you guys. We couldn't do it without you. We really appreciate it. And, we're very pleased that we were able to get all these donations. So the trip went great. Chris Cudahy, John Reagan, Ronnie Mullen, who else was there? My cousin, Doug Steiner, and myself, Jersey Ed. We did a 50-mile trip down the Delaware through 2 nights, 3 days, paddle our asses off. The river was low. We had tons of fun, guys. The campsites each night that we were there were great. We had somewhat of a meeting. We even tried to get on a meeting one night, which we couldn't, but we had a great time. And, it was all about recovery. We all had fun. We all helped each other out. Chris went down on a paddle board, right? On a paddle board with a chair strapped to it, a beach chair. And he went over. He was the only one that went over. He hit a rock and boom, he went over. But everybody got back up to him. He was fine. He was able to stand up when he hit one of the rocks and he was good. But that's what recovery is about, is helping everybody, just getting out there and just when somebody falls, we're there for you no matter what. And that was it was a kind of a symbolic kind of gesture, what we all did with Chris when he went over on the, thank God it was only on his board, not anywhere else, not slipping. So, but that's what I'm talking about. If we slip or if we're having a hard time, or if we're just, not in a kind of right frame of mind, we come together to help each other out in recovery, in AA, in NA, in any A program, right? It's just amazing how we get to help each other out. And after that, after the all the recovery on the raft and on the river and on the campgrounds and everything, climbing up the hills and climbing down the hills in the morning, setting our campsite up every night, eating food out of bags. Like we were eating these MREs, right? Meals ready to eat. And you had to pour water in them. And some of them were good. You had to close them up for like 20 minutes. And then if you're lucky, they wouldn't be chewy and hard and all that. We had, you had boil water and we had all that stuff. But when we got back the last day on Sunday, Bambi was there. Cindy, we had everybody there. Everybody was there. It was amazing. And they had real food that you didn't have to dump water into. There was like these things called sandwiches we were eating. And I ate like 4 of them and all kinds of food. There was a roar cake. They bought a cake for us. There was about 15 of us there, right, Bambi?
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. It was rewarding knowing that you guys were going to be there, rewarding, first of all, that we got the trip done, number one, and we raised all kinds of money. And just knowing that you guys are there, just friends are there. Friends came from all over the country. You came from the Midwest, Bambi, to come see us. People came from South Jersey. I drove up from South Carolina. It was just an amazing, show for recovery, and years ago, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't go out of my way for anybody. Right. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And the campground they thought you were a little sketchy when you said we were going to have a party there, right? They're not thinking sober party. They're thinking party. Yes.
That's what they thought. They thought that we were going to have a party, but I had to reassure them that, we're having a sober party and everybody had fun. And, we were there for a couple hours, doing everything and just eating and just relaxing. It was nice to relax. So if you want to see some of those pictures, guys, go to Friends in Recovery community on Facebook. And there's a lot of pictures on there. So that was kind of the Roar trip. Also, Bambi, we're looking for an intern, guys, for the podcast. We're interviewing a couple people, but we still need some more. We still need some more applications for our internship. So if you guys are interested in becoming an intern for our show, now intern means we don't pay you. Just to let you know.
Make that really clear first.
Yeah. So you need not apply if you don't want to get paid, or if you want to get paid, I should say. So please, if you're interested, just email me at Helping Friends in Recovery Podcast, your resume, and we will take a look at it and contact you as soon as possible. Today's show topic is Step 9, we're the beginning of step 9. We'll be talking about that, probably reading from the 12 and 12. I know, Bambi, you're going to use the 12 and 12 and the 12 steps of a spiritual journey.
Yes.
And I will be reading through the 12 and 12 and the daily reflections. So, guys, sober shout outs. I know there's a big one today. I know there's a huge one today. And I'm going to give you the pleasure of saying this one, Bambi, because I know you've been touched by this person in many ways for your sobriety and to be where you're at today, as we were just discussing on the show. So I'm going to leave this one to you.
Okay, this is a big one, guys. Our very own Skyler has 14 years yesterday.
Skyler, 14. Come on, guys. Let's hear it for Skyler. Let's put some stuff in there, Carl. Yay. All right. He may or may not put it in there. If not, then we did it ourselves. But, Skyler, as you guys know, she's on the show here every once in a while as it fill in. And I think she is doing some celebrating today. So that's why we couldn't get her to fill in today. But we'll interview Skyler. Maybe next week we'll bring her on.
That would be good.
Yeah. Maybe next week we can bring Skyler on and get her to talk about how she did 14 years. And I bet you
didn't let me go, Ed. When I got out of treatment, she contacted me almost daily until I started coming on meetings. Because she was and never missed a celebration with me. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. I mean, she was just instrumental. I really owe a lot of my sobriety to her.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sky and a lot of people owe their sobriety to Skyler because she went always above and beyond to take care of the alumni or anybody who reached out to her. And she just works an amazing program. I know sometimes she doesn't see it, but I see it constantly in her. I see the constant growth, just like any of us. Sometimes like, oh, I'm so stagnant in my recovery. And somebody says, oh my God, you got such great recovery. I'm thinking to myself, I bullshit that person. But no, we don't bullshit people. The only people we bullshit in recovery is ourselves by not working a program, by not doing what we're supposed to be doing, by not working the steps, calling our sponsor, the whole 9 yards. That's the only people we're bullshitting. But I can honestly say Skyler is the real deal. And congratulations.
And I got to have lunch with her.
Yeah. Tell us about some of your shenanigans that you had in what you call. You went on a food channel network run. I mean, come on.
We're not a sponsor yet, but Food
not yet.
Network. I'm a huge, I'm a junkie for Food Network. So I found us a place that had been featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, one of the Guy Fieri shows. And it was in downtown Trenton, and it was ranked so high. And I'm like, well, we got to go there because that was halfway. Well, we got there, and it's in the seedy little shady part of town. There's liquor bottles on the street everywhere. It's like, I mean, it was just, and I'm like, so I'm texting with Skyler and Camden Kathy, and I'm like, you guys, this is a little shady here. Are you sure it's okay? And they're like, oh, we love little holes in the wall. So we had a great time there.
And it was a Polish food restaurant.
Polish
food. Listen, guys, when you told me that in my early recovery, right, the first year or two, I went to a diner in South River, New Jersey called the Polona Diner, and they had all Polish food. I mean, it was just when it brought back memories when you were telling me all those stories that you guys were going to the Polish diner of beet soup and, you name it, whatever they had there. It was always, the pancake, whatever. It was just amazing. So
they put up with us. So the Rose Marin, if you're ever in downtown Trenton, the Rose Marin, it was an amazing meal. I mean, it was the best food. And she tolerated the four of us, and we were crazy women. So standing on the street corner, yelling at people. I mean, it was good, sober fun.
And you could see pictures on Friends Recovery community too, also there, guys. So I just want to say a couple things here after we mentioned Skyler. We had Jordan saying, congratulations, Skyler. Huge congratulations to Skyler from Corey. Corey said she is a huge part of my recovery as well. And Shay put a bunch of party hats up. And also Shay and Jordan love diner, drive-in, and dive.
See,
So
they would have went with me to the little dive place
I'm
because
sure.
featured,
Absolutely. So again, they are not a sponsor of us, but hopefully soon they will be. But
Right.
Guy, get in contact with my people get in contact with your people, and we'll get a deal going. Yes, absolutely. So and don't forget, we have Zoom meetings twice daily, 7 days a week. You can find them on our website at friendsinrecoverycommunity.org. Or just email one of us and we'll send you the schedule. If you do want to schedule, guys, email us at help@friendsinrecoverypodcast.com and we'll get you on the schedule, because sometimes the meetings aren't up or sometimes you may not find them, but we'll get you all the codes out. And please, please, please join us. If you're new to this show, give us a call or send us an email and we'll get you guys going. Look for us on all of our social media: Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, TikTok, and Snapchat. Friends and our Friends in Recovery communities and adventures on all the pages. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and give us a 5-star review. That is the most important part of that, is a 5-star review, so we can get more and more of these shows out to people. So also Telegram. Tell us a little bit about Telegram before we get into the question of the week, Ben, because that has been wonderful. I've been seeing a lot of people on that really getting a lot of help or just supporting each other. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's a free app on your phone, so it doesn't cost anything to join. Once you join, you download the Telegram app, you look for Friends in Recovery Community, befriend us on there. We'll accept you with open arms, and it's just people put positive things, inspiration. They go on there if they're struggling. You can bet no matter what time you post on there, someone is up and will be there for you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
So it's like a little messenger app, but we have Friends in Recovery on there. We also have a new spiritual one, spiritual and Bible talk on Telegram.
We do. Join Telegram and drop us a note and let us know that you joined it, or search for the Friends in Recovery, and we'll add you to it. And if you have a problem, just make sure you email us or give us a call, 800-989-6504. So Bambi, I know we do a lot before we talk about the topic, but that's okay, because this is the fun part. I like giving the shout outs. I like talking about the support that we have, this huge community that we're building. It's not just about the podcast, guys. We have to get the information out to everybody so they can be part of the community. This is just one part of Friends in Recovery. This is one little part. If you go to the website, if you go to the Friends in Recovery Facebook or Instagram, come to the Telegram app, there's so much support there, and the meetings too. The meetings are the big part, because that's where we all get together on a nightly or a noonly basis, or whatever time zone you're in, and that's where we get to share. And that's how these friendships came about. That's how 15 fucking people came to Jersey last Sunday to greet 5 of us who paddled down the Delaware River for 50 miles. That's how it came about, right here. No other way. I didn't make a phone call out of blue and contacted Bambi in the middle of the country. I didn't call, Cindy out of the blue and say, people are looking for recovery, and this is the community we built. It's amazing and strong, and please be a part of it, guys, because it's growing, and you're going to see something huge come out of all this. So anyway,
get in on the bottom up, the ground up.
Yes, exactly. We don't have stocks, so you can't buy stocks. The only thing we have is recovery. That's all we peddle here is recovery.
Best stock.
That is it. There's guaranteed, if you do what your sponsor and what this program tells you to do, you'll stay sober. That's it. You'll stay sober, and the rest will come. So anyways, so the question of the week, Bambi, I thought this was good for the end of the summer, because there's a lot of things that could fall under this question. I'm going to read it here in a second, but it's the end of the summer. The Labor Day weekend is upon us. I know by the time you're listening to this, it's not going to be a Labor Day weekend, but you guys listening to on Facebook, I love this question. And
question of the week.
And the question of the week is, what food is delicious but a pain to eat? What food is delicious but a pain to eat? So I want to hear some of your responses on Facebook Live on in the chat room. We'll talk about that. Baby, I have two. All right. And I just thought of one, but I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. Well, my first thought was, well, won't we all just say crab legs, because we all love them, but everybody hates to crack them. But then I didn't get my s'mores on the after party at the Roar trip. They ended up going home with someone and I didn't get my s'mores.
Yes.
So I was pouting. So I've been pouting about it all week. And so Matt stopped yesterday and got all the stuff for s'mores and brought them home. Those are a pain in the ass to eat. I mean, the roast and the marshmallows is fun, but of course I didn't put them on right. So the marshmallows were falling off into the fire. That's number one, and then you put them on, it doesn't melt all the way through and you're crumbling. And I had it gooey stuff just dripping down my fingers, marshmallows. The dogs are barking. Now I've got marshmallow on the dogs from trying to keep them out of the fire.
Oh my God. And nothing like hot marshmallow to burn your hands too, right? Or burn your lips or your tongue.
Right. And try to get that off the dog's fur afterwards, because you think you have a clean hand and somehow or another they find marshmallow.
They do. Absolutely. And then a stick, it's bad. It's just, it's a tough one to eat. I have to agree with you on that one, Bambi.
I'm done for 15 years. I don't need another s'mores for about 15
There you go.
years.
That's it. Till the next Roar trip.
Right.
Next year.
Maybe the next Roar trip.
Shay says crabs. I have to agree with her. The blue claw crabs is my go-to. I love them. I eat them as much as I could when I lived in Cape May last year. I would go once a week when they were in season and eat them. My wife hated sitting there because I would pick out every little meat. It was all you can eat. So she would be done and I'd be still there. I'm like, I'm getting my money's worth. I'm eating blue claw crabs. And
2 hours later.
2 hours later, absolutely. You ask her 2 hours later, then your hands are all chopped up because I don't use crackers. I bite them. I eat. I get right into it, and I have probably 2 or 3 dozen I can eat at a sitting. So that's my number one go-to as far as what it is. It's just crazy as far as that goes. But the second thing, and I think maybe you'll agree with me, Bambi, and it's not so much a pain in the ass to eat when you're eating it, it's the aftermath of it. And we're ready for this. Everybody's teeth are going to hurt. Corn on the cob.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
After you're done eating corn on the cob, it's all stuck in your teeth. You're like trying to pick it out. And if you don't have a toothpick or if you don't have one of those, pick things, forget it. You're done. You're done, and if you're trying to talk to somebody that's sitting in the middle of your tooth, forget it, So, but corn on the cob and crab legs go hand in hand because usually, they do. They do.
You have the butter dripping down your fingers from the corn on the cob.
Oh.
I have to admit, I'm a one and done when it comes to corn on the cob. The first corn I have of the season, I'll do on the cob, and then I cut it off after that. I have to have the first one gooey, dipped in butter, but after that, I cut it off. I'm a wimp.
Yeah. I can't eat corn anymore because of my diverticulitis. I just, so I stay away from it. It just wreaks havoc to my system, but I don't miss it. It is what it is. Shay said she said it's too time consuming for the little bit of meat for the crabs, and Jordan
that's
agreed.
True.
It is. Well, now if you have a higher budget, you can get the Alaskan king crabs, crack those suckers in half and all that big meat comes out. But we were on a sort of a budget. So that's why I go with the blue claws. So anyways, so that is our question of the week. If you guys can answer that for us, I believe, if I'm not mistaken right now, we're on Spotify, and I will get more information on that from Carl next week because we did something different. So we're on Spotify, and I think you can find Friends in Recovery podcast on Spotify and leave information there, if I'm not mistaken. And also we're going to put the question of the week up there also. So we'll know a little bit more about that next week. Carl was just getting us kind of going as far as all that goes. So
and of course on YouTube.
On YouTube, absolutely. You can watch us on YouTube when all this is over. So everybody that's watching it now, go watch it again. Like, subscribe, share, and give us a 5-star review. I haven't not seen any any shares, not shares, any 5-star reviews lately, or any reviews?
Oh, well, I did a couple weeks ago. I have to admit I had never been on YouTube. Can you
Okay.
imagine? I'd
That's
never been on
crazy.
YouTube.
Wow.
But because I wanted to give us a 5-star review, I
Yeah.
went back through the shows and watched some of the old ones, and I did give us good reviews, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. Of course.
So
Of
all of you
course.
need to do it too.
Of course. Absolutely. So we ask everybody to do that. So guys, here it is. Step 9. It's the new month and it's the new step. And as everybody knows, we are doing the step of the month. So it is September now. So it is step 9. And step 9 reads, made a direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. And Bambi, to me, this step 8 and 9 is like 4 and 5, just a little bit different. And I know Tiffany shared a couple weeks ago, you're going to take your step 4 and bring it into step 8, like we discussed last week. And same thing with step 9, but you're just going to do it a little different. Now, I haven't done a 9th step in years and years and years. And I will be doing a 9th step soon with my sponsor. And but you know what? I remember being freed from just the bondage of the worry, the doubt, the dishonesty, the just it's like going to confession. Like if you're a
Right.
Catholic, it's like going to confession and getting it all off your chest. Now, here's the thing with step 9. You have to understand that this is a step for the person, right? And also actually for whoever you've harmed, people, places, and things. And we have to understand some people may or may not like this. They may or may not agree with us, but we're keeping our side of the street clean and we're doing what we need to do to move through and be a better alcoholic addict and better human being,
Right.
as far as all that goes. So what's your thoughts on step 9?
Well, I think that, your sponsor is so key when you're
Mhm.
working through this step because they're going to really guide you a lot. I know my sponsor was instrumental in telling me who should be a direct amends, because sometimes we're like, oh, we want to make amends to everyone, but
Yeah.
sometimes those amends are not appropriate.
Yeah.
A direct amends anyway are not appropriate. So I really think, you need to really be working the step with a sponsor,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh yeah.
And there were amends that she had me make that, indirect amends, because sometimes, the people were not, I have a lot of people that have passed in my life, but
Mhm.
I still needed to make those amends to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's so many different ways that you can make amends.
Absolutely, absolutely. And going to a grave site, doing like we shared in the past, doing community service. I shared in the past that and I made the amends for this years and years ago, but I stole things I shouldn't have been stealing. Well, I shouldn't steal anyways, but so there are those things too. And the people, places, and things, that we have to kind of get it all together. But I like the first paragraph of this, and maybe we'll read through this, Bambi, if you don't mind.
Okay.
You're the
No.
reader of the bunch. It's only a couple pages, but I'm going to read the first paragraph because it's short and I've read it before, and I'm good at this first paragraph. So
Okay, then you go for it, Ed.
good
It is your
judgment.
show, the Jersey Ed Show.
The Jersey Ed Show. That's it, guys, with Buckeye Bambi. Good judgment, a careful sense of timing, courage, and prudence. These are the qualities we shall need when we take step 9. So a careful sense of timing, right?
Right, because
That's
sometimes it's not the time to do it. You may want to say, "Oh, I got to get through the step," but there are people out there that are very hurt by the things
mm,
we've done. They're not ready to hear that from you yet.
no. It could be an ex-wife, ex-husband, could be an employer, could be a little bit of everything. But that timing is so important. And where that timing comes from, and you hit it right on the head, Bambi, is through your sponsor. Like,
Mhm.
I always hear people as soon as they get in the program, I want to make amends to everybody right now. Whoa, 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 slow
Yeah.
down, including me. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to make amends to my ex-wife for selfish reasons, number one, so I can get back with her, right? And you guys know the story of my you know, with my ex-wife. I'm no longer with her, but thank God. But but that was my intention. I had selfish motives when I came into this program. I didn't know any better. It's not like
Right.
that's what I knew. So I started hanging around like-minded people. I started going to meetings. I started doing what I needed to do. And I started working step one. Step one, oh, I need to know that I'm powerless over alcohol. My life has become unmanageable. That's the first step. I can't go directly to step 9 and make amends to my wife. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking
Doesn't work
kidding
that
me?
way, Ed.
No, it does not work that way. But I'm sure we all have that story. We all have
Yes.
that. We all have that. We're all full of shit, piss, and vinegar, as they say, and we want to get going and helping people. But guys, these steps are in order for a reason, because it takes a lot of courage, prudence, and sense of timing to get to this step. And we don't get to this step by chance. We get to this step by doing 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's how we get to this step.
Right.
Then it gives us the courage, the understanding, the knowledge, the sponsorship. We have a sponsor to run all this by, right? To get to this step. Courage.
Ed, that the 12 and 12 was written when Bill wrote the 12 and 12. It was because people were not following the steps in order. He didn't give clear enough direction, I guess, in the big book. So that's why the 12 and 12 was written, to make sure that we follow the process.
Yep. And that is super important that we follow the process, because again, think about it, guys. If I went right to step 9 and I apologized to my wife, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I'm sorry, honey. I didn't mean to drink. I didn't mean to drug. I didn't mean to steal food from my family. I didn't mean to, go sleep with that other women. I didn't mean to, whatever it was, disrespect you. I mean, I can go on and on and on with a list of my first wife, what I've been through with, what I've done to that poor woman. But if I got the apology, right? If I got, okay, let's work on this 3 days into my sobriety, wouldn't be good.
No.
Wouldn't be good.
And are you able to handle the rejection when they don't? Because not everybody accepts your amends. Now, you may want to make an amend, but that doesn't mean they have to accept it. They could still say, okay, that's nice. Now screw off. You know?
Exactly.
And what would that do? Are you ready to not go back out and drink at that point before having worked the other steps?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I'm just trying to look up the definition of prudence also. Yeah, and exactly. We just have to kind of get all that on track. And we are not spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, we are not ready to make amends. We're not, because here's the thing. And if I went right to step 9 like I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to back it up. I wouldn't be able to tell everybody that that I'm truly sorry, right? I really wouldn't. You
haven't worked on yourself yet, the character defects and having, help with getting some of those in check.
Yeah, exactly. So prudence, it says here, it's a couple definitions: the ability to govern and discipline oneself. Huh? Wow. Didn't we just talk about that?
Absolutely.
The ability to govern and discipline oneself by the use of reason. Well, there it goes right there. By the use of reason. I had no reasoning, zero reasoning before when I got into recovery. First year, 2, 3, maybe 5 years, right? I mean, not that long, but still, what was my reasoning, right? What was my reasoning? What was my reasoning? And I'm just pointing out one of my amends.
Well, yours was to get back with your ex-wife.
That was
it. You whined about it for a year before they told you to shut the hell up.
Yeah, they did. They said shut the fuck up. But okay, we'll give that to you. But but they did, and that was a big reason. And that actually opened my eyes once, in a year into it, saying, "Wow, you know what? This is true, man. If I got what I wanted, I would have got what I wanted. If you think about it, right? I wasn't. When I came in, I was ready to quit drinking when I came in. But if somebody pushed me this way a little bit or pushed me that way a little bit, who knows? Who knows? If I got what I wanted, and everything comes in time in this program. Time takes time. That's our big our big saying about time takes time. I also want to talk about courage. We just talked about prudence, but courage. It takes some balls, some guts, some whatever you want to call it to do this step, to walk up to
Absolutely.
somebody, because somebody might tell you to go fuck yourself, right? Seriously. Or somebody may not be,
Right.
we have this idea that, that they're going to be open and honest, even all these years into it, maybe 6 months into a year, wherever you're at. We have this idea that these people are going to be okay because I stopped drinking. Well, who the fuck cares if I stop drinking or not?
You
I
tormented me for years, for God's sake.
Exactly. I don't give a fuck about what your program is. And that's where you have to have the courage to, accept what they're telling you. It's their stuff, not yours. And you have to accept it because that is where they're at. Right. So that's the courage that you have to have. And then again, the prudence to understand the reasoning behind it. What's the reason behind it? If somebody says, okay, Ed, I know you're sorry. Okay. Let's start a friendship again, or somebody else go to hell, whatever it is, you got to have the reasoning to understand it. Because if my wife way back when, if I went right away and did step 9 as my first step and she said, fuck you, we're done, I would have gotten pissed off. I would have got drunk. I would have got all the above.
Right. Well, you didn't have the skills yet. I mean, that's like, you become a nurse and you want to go work in an ICU right away. They don't let you do that. They send you to the damn med surge floor for a year. And,
Exactly. So let's read a couple paragraphs here on step 9. Did you want to read did you like the daily reflections? Did we want to read that?
Do you want me to read that one?
Yeah, let's read that because that's actually pretty good to talk about.
Building a new life. We feel a man is unthinking when he says sobriety is enough. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 82. When I reflect on step 9, I see that physical sobriety must be enough for me. I need to remember the hopelessness I felt before I found sobriety and how I was willing to go to any length for it. Physical sobriety is not enough for those around me. However, since I must see that God's gift is used to build a new life for my family and my loved ones, just as importantly, I must be available to help others who want the AA way of life. I ask God to help me share the gift of sobriety so that its benefits may be shown to those I know and love.
Wow. What a way to kick off step 9, right? Wow. Right. And we read that. I didn't even read it this morning. When you read it to me before, I was like, we got to read this. And, I see the physical sobriety must be enough for me. I see that, I have to understand that. I remember the hopelessness I felt before I found sobriety. I have to understand that too. And how I was willing to go to any lengths any lengths, right?
Right.
Even if I have to wait till step 9 to make my amends to my ex-wife, right?
That's right.
But any lengths. So it's just classic of what we were just talking about, why these steps are in order. Because if we want to go to any lengths, we have to start off again by step 1 saying, and I know this is a step 9, but this is the step that everybody wants to jump to right away because we fucking hurt a lot of people. We pissed a lot of people off. We stole from a lot of people. And when we get on that pink cloud, guys, I know I shouldn't say when I got on that pink cloud, I felt like crap for everything I did to everybody. You
want to fix it right then because you want everyone to forgive you
right away. Yeah. I want everybody to see I am this sober guy. How many years you have sober? Years? I got 4 days sober. Come on. I'm good to go, guys. Don't you know that I have 4 days sober and I fucking got this program down? Well, I know some of us at that point, I knew at 4 days sober that I was not turning back. I know at 4 days sober that this was the program for me. I knew at 4 days sober that all this stuff that I would go to any lengths, like Bambi read in the daily reflections, that I would go to any lengths to stay sober. And if that meant that I had to wait 8 more steps to go make an apology, then I had to do it. So in those 8 steps that before the step 9, I grew, right? I grew and things were just amazingly simple. When I got to step 9, things got very simple, believe it or not. I know that sounds crazy, but things got simple because I didn't have to complicate it, because here's the deal. And again, I'm going to go back to my ex-wife. I would try to sell her on my apology. I would try to sell her on everything and anything I would have tried to do if I went directly to step 9, right? If I did that. And that's why it says any lengths for our sobriety. Physical sobriety is not enough for those around me, right? However, since I must see that God's gift is used to build a new life for my family and loved ones, right? So that's super important that that I understand this, that that physical sobriety is not enough for those around me. And to me, that Bambi, that means my actions, right?
Right. They need to see. You need to show them. I mean, they're not ready to accept your amends yet. Like you
No,
said, we
no,
put them through hell, our loved ones.
yes.
So you are showing them this gift of sobriety by working the steps leading up to step 9
Mhm.
so that they can see that you're ready.
Yeah, yep.
You
Say
know,
apps.
they've watched you now.
Mhm.
Most of the our people are watching us and they're waiting for changes.
Mm.
But if we just did that in the beginning, they would have, yeah, this is like every other time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Every time. Because how many times did I promise I wasn't going to drink again? How many times did I
Exactly.
promise I wasn't going to, womanize again? How many times did I promise I wasn't going to go to the dope dealer and buy an 8-ball of cocaine with the kids' money again? 1,000, a
Right.
million.
Right.
I mean,
And
come
then
on.
think about financial amends. When you're early in sobriety, you're not ready to fix those mistakes yet. I
No.
mean, hell, I just got out of rehab. I wasn't
Yeah,
working. I couldn't start to repair, any kind of thing like that. So, I
absolutely.
mean, you got to be ready for step 9 when you take
You
it.
do, you do, and again, that's where the courage comes in. That's when we read here. Hold on, I keep flipping this book. This book is so old, guys. I had this from almost day. It's all taped together. It's all I don't know if you can see it, but it's pretty beat up, and it's my daily reflections book. I had it since God, probably the second or first year of my sobriety. So this book is probably about 27 years old. So. Um, let's see. Physical sobriety is not enough for those around me. However, since I must see God's gift is used to build a new life for my family and loved ones. Yeah, so that's the actions we were just talking about, and that's
Right.
this step is an action step,
Yes.
and this is where we have to show people now, right? So we showed people all along, but this is where we're actually kind of telling people that, listen, all this work I did, I've been sober for 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is. And here's my amends. You do what you want with it, and
Right.
we'll move on from here. If you're my friend afterwards, it's okay. If you're not my friend afterwards, it's still okay. You know, and that's the living amends. That's the amends to from persons to persons. But all the other amends that we have to make, and we'll go. I think when we get Jeff on the show, we can go into a little more deeper, meet some of the meanings behind making amends to a grave, making amends to a business, or whatever. I think Jeff can fill us in a little bit more why that is important also. But me just knowing step 9 and having courage and the prudence to really push through all this stuff is just kind of amazing that I've come this far, right? I always say I didn't come this far just to come this far.
Right.
And this is one of the steps that's going to keep pushing me further and further and further into my
Right.
recovery. So do you want to read this step? We have a couple minutes left here. We can just go into a few things. I don't see any questions on the board, but we're still live, just to let Cindy know. Good morning, Sandy. And we are still here. So
Yes. Okay. After we have made the list of people we have harmed, have reflected carefully upon each instance, and have tried to possess ourselves of the right attitude in which to proceed, we will see that the making of direct amends divides those we should approach into several classes. These will be those who ought to be dealt with just as soon as we become reasonably confident that we can maintain our sobriety. There will be those to whom we can make only partial restitution, lest complete disclosures do them or others more harm than good. There will be other cases where action ought to be deferred, and still others in which, by the very nature of the situation, we shall never be able to make direct personal contact at all.
Mm. That last couple lines there, that says a lot, because that can also upset us, take us down, make us feel like shit, right?
Right.
Just knowing that, it's in our step, saying that there's sometimes we might only be able to make a partial amends. Sometimes we might only be able to show action instead of apologizing. And then there's sometimes we may not be able to make amends at all.
Right. Right.
Um,
There's just some you can't,
yeah.
or some that you feel like, that person has passed on. And like you say, there are ways to make amends for that. But again, that's where you're working with your sponsor, because
Mhm.
they're going to help guide you through that and figure out how the
Absolutely.
best way to make amends. Because you've got your
Absolutely.
list from step 4 and from step 8.
Yep.
You've used those two to make this list.
Yeah, they should be very close. They should be almost
Right.
exact, maybe 1 or 2 here. And again, that step 8, you're talking to your sponsor about step 8. He or she is going to guide you through that. And again, which amends you're going to make in person, which amends you may just have to pray on, whatever it is. But here, this was perfect for me, because think about this, guys. Again, I wanted step 9 to be step 1 to get my wife back and all that stuff. But I don't know. I think I shared this in the past, but I had a restraining order against me, so I couldn't even fucking talk to her. But of course, I wanted to run out and go apologize to her. So that's where, the end of that last sentence comes. Until others in which, by the very nature of the situation, a restraining order.
Restraining order.
We shall never be able to make a direct personal contact at all. That's a little different now. But back then, when I wanted to jump into it and give her my what for, because I'm this new guy,
Sober guy.
a new sober guy. I'm rocking it, guys. 4 days sober, and I'm going to make a fucking amends, right? But
and that should automatically, Jersey Ed is sober. The restraining order should just be dissolved.
It should just fall off, right? Come on. But I wasn't Jersey Ed back then, so
right.
You want to keep reading on here, baby?
Yes, most of us begin making certain kinds of direct amends from the day we join Alcoholics Anonymous. The moment we tell our families that we are really going to try the program, the process has begun. In this area, where are seldom any questions of timing or caution, we want to come in the door shouting the good news. After coming from our first meeting, or perhaps after we finished reading the book Alcoholics Anonymous, we usually want to sit down with some member of the family and readily admit the damage we have done by our drinking. Almost always, we want to go further and admit other defects that have made us hard to live with. This will be very different occasion, and in sharp contrast with those hangover mornings when we alternated between reviling ourselves and blaming the family and everyone else for our troubles. At this first sitting, it is necessary only that we make a general admission of our defects. It may be unwise at this stage to rehash certain harrowing episodes. Good judgment will suggest that we ought to take our time. While we may be quite willing to reveal the very worst, we must be sure to remember that we cannot buy our own peace of mind at the expense of others.
And that's exactly what we've just been talking about, right? We just, we're going in there, at the expense of other people at the beginning, and you know what? Also, it says at the beginning of this paragraph, also in my eyes, I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but just by going and saying you're an alcoholic and going to meetings and changing your life 4 days, 5 days, 4 months, 10 months, whatever it is really making amends.
That is a part of a living amends. You're living to be better. And, that you're showing them, you're showing your loved ones, and of course, you're coming home from rehab. You're going to say, I'm sorry, I'm really going to try. So I think that's what this is saying. It's okay to do that kind of amends.
Yep.
But you've got to really work some stuff through before you make the deeper, step 9 amends.
Just like it says, direct amends to such people whenever possible, right? The direct amends. That amends that we're talking about at the beginning, again, it's in the third paragraph down on page 83, is that, first of all, you're on a pink cloud. Second of all, people see that you're in AA, but is it different? He didn't go to AA or she didn't go to AA last time, Now they went to a meeting every day for a week. Okay. Every day for a month, a little bit better. Every day for 6 months, really good. But still not step 9 material.
Right.
Still not step 9 material. Unless you're working very vigorously with a sponsor. And I know a lot of people, I know myself, it took me almost a year to get to this step, maybe a little bit longer. I was not ready. Some people take 6. Well, I mean, what was it when they started? Was it like you had to get the steps done in a month or something?
Oh, yeah,
Wasn't that like in AA was like when it started? I think
in the beginning, if you there is a book that I have, and I mean it's to take you through the steps immediately. You go through them immediately, like within a week to 2-week period, but that is like your basis to start the program.
Yeah.
So that was when Bill started and Bob started out, they wanted you to know what the steps were, to actually put some oomph behind your words. So you did but that would be kind of like that initial amends, like, hey, I'm going to start working the program.
Exactly.
So you went through all the 12 steps, boom, boom, boom. But then you start actually working the program slowly with a sponsor and going through it. So.
Exactly. And the program is not any time. It used to, I think it was like a month or 2 weeks or something when they first came up with the steps. But you go at your own pace. You go at your own pace. It doesn't matter like where you're at. If you're 10 years into it and you're only doing step 9, well, it's okay. I mean, should you move along a little quicker? I don't know. That's not for me to say. Maybe you're stuck. Maybe you're afraid. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's some things holding you back in life, but you go at your own pace.
Right. And also step 9, I mean, you may not like, I'm past step 9 working with my sponsor, but there's still amends that I have to make.
Of course.
So there's going to be amends that I'll have to make for, probably years to come. Like, I'm estranged from my daughter right now, but I know that I will see her again. So that's going to be a direct amends.
Yeah.
So even though I can move on with the steps, she's on my list, I know that it'll happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Sandy brought up a good point here. Fear of rejection. That's huge in this step. Like fear of rejection, fear of somebody's not going to accept your, of acceptance of your apology. And they may not. And there might be rejection there. And again, that's where the courage has to come in. That's where, the timing has to come in. Your sponsor, maybe it's not time for that person. Maybe they are going to reject it. Or maybe you're at, a couple of years later where you have to go, like Bambi said, you have to keep doing these steps over and over. These steps, like I always say, these steps are like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. You start on one side, you paint all the way through, and then you go back again and start again because it's going to be needed to get going. But as we go through the steps and as we become more and more kind of okay with ourselves and step 8, 7, right through all the other steps, that's when the courage comes in. That's when, and if we keep doing these over and over, think of all the courage, think of all the, all the, all the kind of, the courage that you're going to get to come through these. I can't even find another word for courage, but courage is another word for courage.
Right.
But,
and fear of rejection, like Sandy said there, I mean, it's just so huge because if you're riding that pink cloud and that's what you need at first, you need to sometimes throw yourself into it and go with the feelings. But are you ready for that rejection? Are you ready when someone says, screw you? There's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can do that's going to make me forgive the shit you put me through.
Exactly. And guys, also the time heals everything also. So maybe an amends 6 months later, a year later, or whatever it is, 10 years later, it might heal that person. They may not be the warmest person in the world, but you might get okay, go fuck yourself, see you later, instead of fuck you. You know what I mean?
Right.
You might get that instead.
Be a softer
screw
you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another reason why. And again, this is just this is just saying once we get into recovery and once we get our motive straight, step 9 starts working. I don't want to say almost immediately, but people start seeing it. People have to start healing also. Guys, I hate to tell you, but I am not the most important person in this world. There's
Say
family
it's not
members.
true.
Okay. Well, maybe on the show I am, but, but here's the thing, you know, family members have to heal. Loved ones have to heal. Friends have to heal. Employers have to heal. Acquaintances have to heal too. Right. And that's where, again, that's why I said this is so important that we do these steps in order. And again, I am that guy who wanted to rush right ahead and do that, you know, do step 9, but I understand it now. Why? Because I have time in the program. Why? Because I listened to my sponsor. Why?
Right.
Because I worked each one of these steps to
Right.
the best of my ability, and I fucking understand it again. And Bambi, I think, was it Matt who said it on a meeting yesterday or this morning that oh God, or was it Rob on the meeting that he said he doesn't understand God's Rob, it was Rob, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So and that is perfect for these steps. Rob said he doesn't understand God sometimes, but it's not for him to understand God.
Right.
Right. It's going to be in God's time. And that is the perfect example of this. Like, God, why can't I just have everybody apologize? I'm in rehab now. And you know, why? I don't understand it.
Right.
You know, why?
I'm a good person. Everyone forgive me and let's just move on.
Exactly. So let's keep reading down and we'll go through a couple more paragraphs here.
Much the same approach will apply at the office or factory. We shall at once think of a few people who know all about our drinking and who have been most affected by it. But even in these cases, we may need to use a little more discretion than we did with the family. We may not want to say anything for several weeks or longer. First, we will wish to be reasonably certain that we are on the AA beam. Then we are ready to go to these people to tell them what AA is and what we are trying to do. Against this background, we can freely admit the damage we have done and make our apologies. We can pay or promise to pay whatever obligations, financial or otherwise, we owe. The generous response of most people to such quiet sincerity will often astonish us. Even with the severest and most justified critics will frequently meet us more than halfway on the first trial.
And they're talking about work there, obviously.
Yeah.
And I like it says we need to be first. We will wish to be reasonably certain that we are on the AA beam, right?
Right.
We're not on the AA beam 4 days into fucking recovery.
Exactly.
Let's be serious, you know?
Right. That's again why they're in order, you know.
Exactly.
And some of the things, again, you're going to work with your sponsor because, you know, are you going to, and again, you know, just because I'm a nurse, I'm thinking, am I going to go tell everyone I ever worked for that I was drinking while I was there? You're not going to do that.
No.
You're not going to hurt yourself or your family later on. You know, that's going to be something you work out with your sponsor to see who you're really helping and who you're hurting.
Exactly. And then I like this because it goes on to say, then we are ready to go to those people to tell them what AA is. Right. Some of those people don't even know what the fuck AA is. 12 steps. What are you talking about? There's 12 steps to get to the break room. Is that what you're talking about? No, there's a program called, and I know most people nowadays because it's just it's just so out there. But some people may not know the ins and outs like we know. You know, we're going into these steps pretty deep.
Right.
And people don't know this stuff, you know.
They don't know it. And maybe people don't know that you were drinking. You have amends to make. It wasn't all just from your drinking. You know, you have amends to make in life. And maybe we are the best liars in the whole freaking world.
Addict behavior, man. Addict behavior.
So you may be admitting to some people that, look, I'm an alcoholic and this is a program that I'm in.
Exactly. And then you have to have the wherewithal, the understanding to know what AA is about. Because then you're going to have to go talk to somebody. And again, you need a sponsor to do this step because now you have to go tell somebody what AA is. Okay. I mean, obviously we're deeper into this, so we know what AA is, but 4 days into it, 5 days into it, you don't know what AA is.
Clue.
Yeah. Shit, a year into it, I didn't know what the fuck AA was, you know? So that's a little bit about the work. Let's start on top of 85.
This atmosphere of approval and praise is apt to be so exhilarating as to put us off balance by creating an insatiable appetite for more of the same. Or we may be tipped over in the other direction when in rare cases we get a cool and skeptical reception. This will tempt us to argue or to press our point insistently, or maybe it will tempt us to discouragement and pessimism. But if we have prepared ourselves well in advance, such reactions will not deflect us from our steady and even purpose.
That's important also to me anyways, is that, if if somebody's gonna fight back at us,
Right.
do we put the boxing gloves on?
You
Absolutely
can.
not.
You
Leave the
can.
boxing gloves home,
Yeah.
bring the meditation app and the essential oils, and go
Right.
in there and take whatever the fuck they're gonna give you.
Right. Keep your
I'm not
sponsor
saying
on speed dial because
that's
you're gonna
right.
need
That's
them,
right.
you know?
That's right. And there is a time when you have to leave if they're getting belligerent or they're
Right.
getting, I mean, it just doesn't make sense to stay at that point. But
Right.
your goal is to go in there and talk to the person. And again, all this stuff will be worked out with your sponsor before
Right.
you even go, because your sponsor is going to know you inside and out. Say, hey, Eddie, I don't know if that's a wise idea. Let's think about doing it this way instead. You got a
Right.
restraining order against her, Yeah, but I want to go and tell her I'm sorry and she'll understand and blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, she won't. You'll be in Morris County Jail if you go fucking say you're sorry, So I never took that chance.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing.
Exactly. After you want to keep reading down the
After
page.
taking this preliminary trial at making amends, we may enjoy such a sense of relief that we conclude our task is finished. We will want to rest on our laurels. The temptation to skip the more humiliating and dreaded meetings that still remain may be great. We will often manufacture plausible excuses for dodging these issues entirely, or we may just procrastinate, telling ourselves the time is not yet, when in reality we have already passed up many a fine chance to right a serious wrong. Let's not talk prudence while practicing evasion.
Mm, that's a good one. We have to just roll through these.
Right.
I think if you get a script together with your sponsor and do what you need to do and follow that script to a T. Of course, maybe you have to go off of it a little bit, but you cannot stop at the easy ones. You just
Right.
can't. The hard ones they have to be in there.
Right.
That's what makes or breaks us. That's what pushes us through this stuff,
Mhm.
because we want to get this shit out. We want to move on. We want to apologize and just move on, no matter what it is, no matter what their answer is, or what their how they take it. We're doing this for ourselves.
Right.
We're
And
doing this for
Ed, I
ourselves.
was so psyched up to make amends to my brother. I had everything scripted out, right? I wanted to tell him everything I was sorry for, what I had done, what I knew I had done. But for him, he didn't want to rehash it. You know, he's
Oh
like,
yeah.
he's like, no, I forgive you and we're
Mhm.
moving forward. And I'm like,
Mhm.
no, but I need to. He said, no,
Mm.
no,
Yeah.
I don't need to hear every detail. I lived it.
Yeah.
I see you're being
Yeah.
different and I accept your amends. But, here I am. I'm like, no, I've got to get it out because my sponsor tells me I have to say what I did. And he's like, no.
Mm.
And it's about him. Ultimately, it's about him.
It is. It is. And that's where you don't want to get in the pissing match of, no, you have to listen to me.
Right.
No, they don't
Right.
have to listen to you.
But
You- we
that's
ha-
hard.
It is. It is. I have to tell you what I did wrong, and you need to know I'm apologizing to you. Blah, blah, I get it. I've been there, done that. But you have to. What's a restrain of pen and tongue?
Right.
Just in case the tongue. Make sure that you just listen. You got to
Right.
bring your. What do they say? Take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth.
Your mouth.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's a classic for this amends, when somebody, listen to the person and what they're saying.
Mhm.
Right. That's the important part. If they don't want to get into it, there's no need to.
Right.
There's no
Right.
need to. Perfect example, Bammy. Thank you for bringing that up. You want to go ahead and read on?
As soon as we begin to feel confident in our new way of life and have begun by our behavior and example to convince those about us that we are indeed changing for the better, it is usually safe to talk in complete frankness with those who have been seriously affected, even those who may be only a little or not at all aware of what we have done to them. The only exceptions we will make will be cases where our disclosure would actually cause harm.
Mm.
These conversations can begin in a casual or natural way, but if no such opportunity presents itself, at some point we will want to summon all our courage, head straight for the person concerned, and lay our cards on the table. We needn't waller in excessive remorse before those we have harmed, but amends at this level should always be forthright and generous.
Mm. You can keep reading on. I mean, that was just something we just spoke about.
There
Obviously,
can only be one consideration which should qualify our desire for a complete disclosure of the damage we have done. That will arise in the occasional situation where to make a full revelation would seriously harm the one to whom we are making amends, or, quite as important, other people. We cannot, for example, unload a detailed account of extramarital adventuring upon the shoulders of our unsuspecting wife or husband. And even in those cases where such a matter must be discussed, let's try to avoid harming third parties, whoever they may be. It does not lighten our burden when we recklessly make the crosses of others heavier.
Yes. And that says, and that's the part where it says, except when to do so will injure them or
others.
Others. Yeah. And again, if you stole money from somebody, we have to look at this stuff. Extramarital affairs, that is a perfect example of trying to make amends in a different way. I mean, you don't want to hurt anybody that you're unnecessarily more than what's going on. You know what I mean? And
if they don't know it happened and you're going to go ruin your marriage because you're going to say that, who's that helping? That would be a selfish amends that you would be making.
It would be, yeah. Unless you want to get divorced, then I highly recommend it. Yeah. I remember I was in a group 25 years ago, and there was a person in that group that wrote on their lunch bag that they had an extramarital affair, spoke to their sponsor about it, and this is how they were handling it. It was just really weird. But the wife ended up finding it somehow. And it was like, oh my God. So we have to be very careful, especially in all these ways. It might just be something you want to have a conversation with your sponsor with, and then it stops right there.
Right.
And then that is it.
Right.
And end of story. We move on. Sponsor, let's give us 10 minutes, to give it an hour, whatever it is. And then we move on from there, because we do not want to cause harm to others. Zero. Because we've been doing it for all those years.
Right.
All those years we were using and
Hopefully
drinking.
we're done with the majority of that. We're becoming a better person. And
Exactly. And who in their right mind is going to go, honey, let's go to have dinner. I want to go tell you about my extramarital affair.
That person that wants to get divorced to start with.
Exactly. So, and just let's read through the rest.
Many a razor-edged question can arise in other department of life where this same principle is involved. Suppose, for instance, that we have drunk up a good chunk of our firm's money, whether by borrowing on a heavily padded expense account. Suppose that this may continue to go undetected if we say nothing. Do we instantly confess our irregularities to the firm, in the practical certainty that we will be fired and become unemployable? Are we going to be so rigidly righteous about making amends that we don't care what happens to the family and the home? Or do we first consult those who are to be gravely affected? Do we lay the matter before our sponsor or spiritual advisor, earnestly asking God's help and guidance, meanwhile resolving to do the right thing when it becomes clear, cost what it may? Of course, there is no pat answer which fits all such dilemmas, but all of them do require a complete willingness to make amends as fast and as far as may be possible in a given set of conditions. Above all, we should try to be absolutely sure that we are not delaying because we are afraid, for the readiness to take the full consequences of our past acts and to take responsibility for the well-being of others at the same time is the very spirit of Step 9.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with that, but I want to go back. Are we going to be so rigid, rigid, or is that, where am I? About making amends that we don't care what happens to the family or home? That's recklessness. That's really what that is. I mean, we still have to support our families. We still have to, do, take care of our families and wives and husbands and all that. But I like this because, like you said, Bambi, this is not about being, pride and ego and all that stuff. We have to come in here humble. And that's what the past steps are talking about, is being humbled and being, kind of where we can see and where we don't, where we can see what we have to do and where we have to back off of it too. And that's exactly like, let's not go in there and go crazy. And I can tell you when I was drinking, there is no way any company would have ever given me a credit card or an expense account. I mean, I was just not that person to do that. I mean, now I have a job with an expense account. I watch every dollar where it goes, every penny when it goes, and, but it's completely different. If you gave me an American Express card 28 years ago, I'd be like, oh, free money.
Jersey Ed's calling that drug dealer up.
That's it. That's it. That's it. Exactly. So, so this, and it says, like it said, above all, we should try to absolutely be absolutely sure that we are not delaying because we are afraid. So faith over fear when we go into this step, hands down, faith over fear. And if you're not ready to do it, it's okay. That's okay. When you have when you have that faith to do it, when you have this, the fearlessness to go and do this, that's when we do it. And it's okay. So maybe you're going to leave somebody out. Maybe you might leave somebody out purposely. Maybe you're not ready for that amends yet. And again, that's why we have to keep doing these steps over and over. But if you go in there, talk to your sponsor, get all this going and do what you need to do, the spirit of step 9 comes alive. We're freed. Basically, it's saying we're freed. That's what it is. Our well-being, and other people are freed. The other people are freed too. They're not morally obligated to the bullshit that we put them through, and we can say, okay, see you later. This is not who I am anymore. And you are not morally obligated to my feelings anymore, and I think, I don't know if that's wrong or right, but that's how I see it. So
no, I agree with that.
Yeah. So step 9, we're gonna talk a little bit more about that next week with Jeff. We're gonna get him on as the clinical look at step 9. Step 9 is really detailed. It's we're gonna have to go a lot more into it. I just wanted to read this because it's a short read, but there's a lot in there, and we're gonna dissect this in the next couple weeks, especially when we get into some of our personal stuff. We've been throwing our personal stuff out all day today, but when we get into it, we'll get into it. We
always throw our personal stuff out there, right?
We do. Exactly. So, hold on. I just closed the book, but step 9 made a direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. And that's, to me, this is a huge part of my recovery, a huge part of my growth, a huge part of my new who I am. I grow every day, guys. I change every day. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or even yesterday. When I go on meetings, I learn things. And if I'm not open and willing to do whatever it takes to grow, this step is not going to come easy. This step is going to fuck you. I'm not apologizing to that piece of shit. They fucked me over so bad, so I fucked them over. No, you got to let all that shit go, man, and I can see myself saying that and doing that. If I wasn't in a spiritually good place, so today I am. And the way I do that, guys, is I go to meetings daily, talk to my sponsor daily, pray daily. And that's how I do it. Stay sober. And, even if I stay sober, I can get some of that stinking thinking going up. I can get some of that crazy thoughts. I can piss people off without even fucking drinking. I'll be honest with you. Been known to do that in the past, but anyway, so that's my take on, that's our take on it. Bambi, do you have any closing words on step 9 before we close?
No, I think we did a good job reading through this. I'm glad we read through it, and go Buckeyes.
Go Buckeyes. Yeah, we'll know next week what the score was when they won, right, Bambi?
That's right. At least by 21.
At least by 21. That's Bambi's prediction,
my prediction,
guys.
Yeah.
So when you listen to this on Tuesday, you will see what the score is and see Bambi's right.
That's right.
So guys, Thank you so much for a wonderful podcast. Thank you everybody on Facebook Live for joining us. Jordan, excellent job, she says. And that was a good job, Bambi. We did a fucking really good job today. Absolutely. Absolutely. So
my
Sandy,
sober Saturday mornings. So.
Sober Saturday morning. Sandy, have a great day. She just told us to have a great day. And we are going to be here next week again. Oh no, you know what, guys? Maybe I will be here next week. I'll see. I might have a conference to go to depending on where we're at. But I missed last week not being here, Bambi, not being on the show.
I missed it as well.
Yeah,
but I was partying.
Yes, we were partying the sober way. So
that's right.
We were at the Roar party. Guys, don't forget we solely kind of live on donations. So thank you for everybody who's donated. And if you have it in your heart to make a $1 donation, $10, whatever it is, we're always here. It's all tax deductible. If you need a receipt for any of this stuff, we will have it for you. Everything is tax deductible now. And, please help us keep the show going. That's all we ask. Bambi, thank you so much for a great show.
Thank you, Ed.
And we will do this again next week.
We will. With Jeff.
With Jeff, absolutely. So stay sober, everybody.
This concludes this episode of Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast. Follow us on Facebook for past shows and updates, and enjoy free access to twice daily support meetings. Friends in Recovery, the Addiction Recovery Podcast, is available on Facebook, Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.